Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is an M40 M43, the Tier 8 American SPG. This one's located on the south spawn of Murovanka, and it's under the command of Smooth932, and he's in platoon with the Wizzy 120 Hugo 192 Sniper. Okay, they're both moving off to their firing positions. There's Hugo Sniper off in the distance, going straight for that hill so he can shoot the enemy using the bushes. Well, you can see that Smooth has got 2 marks of excellence on his barrel, so he's no junior when it comes to the M40 M43. In fact, that's the 8-inch barrel. I can tell that because the barrel doesn't extend over the front of the vehicle, and if it did, it would be the 155mm gun. Well, he's got 1050 alpha, capable of penetrating through 52mm of armour and with a burst radius of 11 meters. He's after a Jaegeru. He's dialed in, rounds out, looks good. Lands just behind him for 290 hit points. It was a good shot. Very difficult to work out the exact amount of lead you need to at that length of distance away, because he was firing virtually over the entire range of the map, or certainly a very long distance away. It's about a 3-second delay between shooting and hitting the target, and in fact actually my mods will actually tell you exactly how far it is. In fact, at this moment the Type 5 he's aiming at is 2 seconds away, 1.8 seconds away according to the mods. And that means by the time you fire and the shell hits the target, it's going to be a 2-second delay, and during 2 seconds a tank can move quite some distance. Especially if they're going full speed, especially if they're a light vehicle, and very much so if they're a light wheeled vehicle that's moving at considerable speed. Well, his shot on the Type 5 Heavy didn't yield much in the way of damage, only 48 hit points, even though it was a direct hit. And that's because the strongest armour on the Type 5 Heavy is right at the front of the vehicle. But both these guys have now come together, and if he fires it in right now, he might be able to get both of them at the same time. Yes, he did. And because it hit the front of the T110E5, he took most damage, 378, but the Type 5 Heavy was alongside at the time, and he picked up 161 hit points of splash right into his side armour. Next target's a T30, American Tier 9 tank destroyer, sitting on the west side of the map near those bushes. Just a little further away. He's come quite a bit south than safe really for a tank destroyer, but now he's going to find out how unsafe it is to be there. Unfortunately, the shell didn't go long, it actually went short, and as a result he actually only got some stun out of it. Now, something you may have noticed Smooth doing is he was knocking some trees over as he was going further up the side of the map, and that can be quite dangerous because it can give a clue to the enemy Arty player where the Arty is if they knock down trees like that. So you ought to be careful just in case somebody's doing counter battery, especially if the enemy target actually says to them, yes, I was hit from this direction, because they'll be looking for the trees that are knocked over to give an indication of where you are. In fact, he has been spotted, and he's been spotted by the RU-251, which is coming up behind him, and he's unloaded, so there's nothing he can do to defend himself against this player. And he gets some ramming damage off the 251, but he needs one of his teammates to help, otherwise, oh, the Batchat 155-55 loads at the last second and takes out the RU-251, but they did take a splash from an M43 M55, and he's now lost a huge amount of damage. Oh, well, a huge amount of health. He's lost over 312 hit points. Well, that's going to make it very difficult for the rest of the battle, because it means that he is a splash kill for the enemy Arty, and they now know the general vicinity of where he's firing from, so they can look for the tracer, and that potentially could be his undoing. He's moving further up the map. Oh, now he actually splashed the guard and stunned him. And he's picked up a load of stun assist off the guard, who was then subsequently hit by other tanks on his team. Next target's going to be the Turtle 1. He's almost loaded. 36 seconds on the reload. Rounds out. And that looked like it was a direct hit, but it didn't do any damage, and we didn't get any voice notifications. Here's another thing, actually. Both Artys at this moment, the Batchat 155-55 and the M40, are very close together. And that makes it much easier for the enemy Arty to work out where they are for counter battery. So it's another thing you need to be aware of. Don't get too close to your teammates Arty, because two tracers are much easier to see than one. And I've taken out enemy Arty because they've been too close together, because it's much easier to spot them that way. Well, the Batchat's got his gun lowered quite a bit there, and I think that dissuaded Smooth from moving forwards, because he might have actually been right in front of the gun when it went off. Okay, we're still aiming for the Jaeger by the church. Lining up the shots. He moves forward. And we can't hit him now. He's behind the building. But if he comes out from behind on that corner, we might be able to get a shot into him. And I think he's going to have to come out that corner. Rounds out. And 198 hit points a splash. Smooth moves. Well, he's moved up to this set of trees here. But I think he doesn't want to go any further, because it might give away their position. There are 3 tanks ahead of the enemy at the moment, so it is looking rather good. That RU-251 is not only gave away their position, but he actually made a bit of a bold and rash move, you might say, because now the enemy tank is the enemy team is only doesn't really have anybody who could actually do some spotting for them except their mediums. Oh, there goes the Jaeger, and he was stunned when he was taken down, which means that Smooth's picked up more stun assist. He's got just under 2k of damage so far, 368 of assist, and 1027 stun assist, and that's all going to add up to the classification he gets at the end of the game. He's going for the Luther, who's pulling back. He's just trying to work out when he should fire that one in. Didn't get anything off that, nothing shown. In fact, actually, we didn't stop to see if the shell actually hit the target. We pulled away before we saw what happened to the shell. He might have hit the target, and it might have just been unspotted at the time. But he's gradually moving up the west side of the map to move away from the original spot where he was seen, and also to try and get away from those enemy tanks that are getting close to our cap area. On the east side of the map, we've got an AMX 5100. Fires a round in at him, and again, because he was unsighted and because Smooth pulled away before the shell arrived, we didn't get to see if he hit the target on that one. Again, I don't recommend you do that, because otherwise how would you know if you actually got a blind hit on the target? Well, you wouldn't. You simply wouldn't, because if you pull away before you fire, you've got no knowledge if the target's already been hit. It's very important information to know if you've struck the target. There's a very good chance he's lost a lot of hit points. He's now aiming for the E75TS, fires around into the corner, and again he does it. Pulls away. Now, I have given a warning to a lot of players, and I'll give it here to Smooth 932. If you pull away all the time after shooting and you don't give the viewer the chance to see whether or not you hit the target, we reserve the right not to show your videos, because after all, if you're not going to let them see the damage, we're not going to let the viewers see your videos. It's simple as that. You're actually depriving the players, or the viewers, the chance to see what you did. Okay, well, the next target that's been seen is a Gorilla 15. He's dialing in on that one, but the Gorilla 15 is moving about a bit. Trying to line up the shot, work out what the Gorilla's going to do next. He fires the round in. He does stay to watch this one, and he gets the kill. A lot of players give the excuse, oh, they have to pull away because they have to relocate to avoid counter battery. I can understand that, but the point is that you don't have to pull away immediately after you shoot, and if you do have to pull away because the enemy Arty is trying to counter battery, stay in the aim view and use your W key or your S key to actually move the Arty away whilst you're in the aim view, so that you can actually see what happens to the shell. Okay, we've got the E75 TS. He's loaded. He's dialing in. Rounds out. He stays to watch this one. And it's a splash for 203, making that target an easy kill for the mouse. He's still stunned. Mouse comes around the corner and finishes him off. There's only 4 enemies left, and here's one of them, the lure. He's just been killed, which means now there's only 3 enemies left. The Arty, which is one of the ones that struck Smooth during that engagement, that brief engagement with the RU-251, an AMX50-100, and the Lanson C. Now his platoon mate and the Wizzy-1201 FT has gone up on the hills, which is, well, kind of dangerous, because if you do go up on those hills, you are more prominent to the enemy. It's easier to spot you. But I had the feeling that the Wizzy-120 Hugo is actually at this moment rushing to try and find the enemy Arty. He's gone into grid square A3. A lot of Arty hide there, but not on this occasion. He might be an A1, but there's also a possibility he's somewhere over on the east side of the map. And oh, Hugo just got killed by the AMX50-100, who went up on top of the hill. And now we've got Smooth trying to hit that guy. He's loaded, but he didn't fire. Now he's moving south now because I think he considers that AMX50-100 a bit of a threat. He could get seen by the guy as he's moving south. Hugo wasn't particularly happy about getting killed. He said so in chat. One rude word. Yes, I don't think he expected the AMX50-100 to be there. And Smooth is rushing south as fast as he can. It's not exactly very fast, this Arty, mainly because it's actually based on the M4 and it's carrying a big heavy weight. That 8-inch howitzer and all the shells that it carries. It's a lot of weight. In fact, these Arty used to carry very few shells actually on board. Most of the shells are actually carried by trucks that accompanied the Arty wherever it went. And also carried most of the crew, because a lot of these Arty actually had substantial number of crew to load the shell, to move all the powder around and everything. Oh, he's just run into the RU-251. I could see it up ahead and I wondered, was he going to turn to one side? That's the 2-minute warning. I also have the feeling that AMX50-100 is probably hunting down Smooth at this moment, trying to find him. He's got considerable damage already, 2,500. There's the Lanson. He's been spotted on the west side of the map. The Ferdinand saw him. He's lining up a shot. He's hiding behind the house. Can he get a shot in there? Well, no, because the actual building just to the south is actually an obstruction, and we've lost the Ferdinand to the enemy Arty. So I suspect that the Lanson spotted for the Arty there, and that's how we lost the Ferdinand. And that means the Lanson could be headed south, and at this moment, you can see that Smooth, he's only got 1 round of ammunition left, and he's holding it in reserve, basically, for the approach of that Lanson. Oh, it's the 50-100! He fires around it and gets 101 hit points, but now he's got no ammunition. And he went to try and ram the AMX50-100, but I'm afraid there was not a lot he could do. The moment he fired, he was spotted. He was behind the bush, but the bush mechanic won't protect you under this circumstance. Yeah, the moment he fired, he was immediately spotted by the AMX50, and even though he started moving towards the guy, he was taken out. And I do recommend, yes, thoroughly, that if you do get, or you are unloaded, there's no ammunition in the breach, try and ram the enemy to get a few more hit points. But there's only 15 seconds left on the clock now, and it's very much looking like it's going to be a draw, because I don't believe there's any chance that the enemy can find the rest of our players, and there's no chance for them to cap. And the AMX50-100 just took a big hit from the mouse, but that's it. It's all up. It's a draw. So let's have a look at the end of battle stats, and we'll see how well Smooth did. Well, he actually managed to get an ace tanker out of that game. Yep, he performed better than 95%, or is it 98%, 99%? Most of the enemy, I think it's actually 99% of the enemy, of the other people who played this Arty in the past 2 weeks. He actually managed to get a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 12. Got a Gore's medal for doing more damage than 8 times the hit points of his own vehicle. And of course he got a Confederate medal as well for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. At least 6 tanks subsequently taken out by other teammates. In fact, you have to scroll the page to see all the targets that he actually hit. He only got 1 kill, that gorilla. And that was a splash kill, that one. But his win rate from the battle was 3,947, and really it's a miracle that he lasted as long as he did after suffering so much damage from the RU-251 and the Arty early on in the game. Let's have a look at team score. Well, he didn't get the highest damage in the game, but he definitely got more damage than was showing on the screen, because he was only showing 2,500 hit points of damage, but he actually did 3,500 hit points of damage overall. 3,562, which puts him in second place behind the Super Conqueror with 3,714. The next high scorer being the Lanson C with 3,204. When it came to kills, it was actually shared between the Gorilla, the Wizzy 120, Hugo, his platoon mate, the Mouse, the M53, M55 on the enemy team, their Jaeger, their AMX50-100, and their E75TS. All got 2 kills apiece. Smooth only got the 1 kill, but it was a good kill. It was the Gorilla, which of course is quite a dangerous opponent. Even though it's got no armor, it's got that big gun, which is very, very dangerous to his teammates. So taking him out of the game was very important. Plus, of course, he did so much in the way of stun assist as well as actual damage that he ended up getting the ace tanker, and he got the highest base XP in the game, 755. Remember, this was a drawn game, so both sides will get exactly the same amount depending on how much effort they put in. Normally a winning team will get more XP than a losing team, but when it's a drawn game, both teams are getting it based on the effort they put in. There's no winner's advantage, and it shows here that despite that winner's advantage or lack of it, he still did the most work in that game. 755 base for him, 646 for the Lanson C, and the next high score after that was the Lerva with 536. And we can see that Hugo was the next one after that with 493, and he shared that with the E75TS on the enemy team. If we look at detail, we can see that Smooth fired 16 rounds in that game, got 6 direct hits, no penetrations but 16 splash, so every shot did something. 3,562 hit points of damage, of which 3,407 were at more than 300 meters. Obviously the close stuff was the ram that he did into the RU-251 when the guy was very, very close indeed. In fact, it has to be very close, he has to be within touching distance in order for you to do a ram. 2 hits received from the enemy. I'm afraid one of them was from the RU-251, the other one was from the MX50-100 that killed him in the end, and he did get hit by splash from the M53, M55 who fired him when the RU-251 found them. 11 enemy vehicles damaged, 1 killed, and 368 hit points of damage assistance, plus 1,109 hit points of stun assist or 15 stuns. On a premium count, he earned 45,216 credits, got 5,039 for courageous resistance, that's for getting an epic or battle hero medal, and he got a battle hero one in this one, the Confederate, on a losing or drawn game. Actually he did, he got an epic medal, he got the Gore's medal as well, that's an epic. 50,255 credits altogether, and after repair and ammunition resupply, took away 10,929 credits. Remember, he did burn up some premium rounds during that game, but yes, he expended all of his ammunition at the end of the game, but he did get a good result, a positive result in terms of both the credits and of course the XP. 1132 XP, 633 for Courageous Resistance, 1000 for completing the mission events, and 2765 experience points altogether. The only bad thing I would say about this game was, well, two things I would say. Is firstly, he didn't let us see most of what he actually did with his shots. And I do understand that he felt that he had to relocate quickly to avoid being counter-batteried. Some of that counter-battery might have been down to the fact that that RU-251 found him, but also because he was leaving a trail of trees that he'd knocked down, which obviously was making it much easier for the enemy Arty to work out where he was. Admittedly, he wasn't counter-batteried after the RU-251 struck him, so or after the RU-251 was out of the game. But the fact remains that if you do leave a trail, you will incur the wrath of the enemy Arty when they work out where you are. And if you sit your Arty alongside one of your teammates' Artys, then yeah, I'm afraid you're much more likely to be discovered. The thing is, I would say, is please stay on the target. Look at what happens to the shell when you fire it in. You might need to make a small correction to get the next shell right on the target to do more damage. But if you pull away immediately after you shoot, you not only deny the viewer the chance to actually see what happens to the shell, but you ruin the replay for everyone, because after all, we will not see if you actually did get a direct hit or a near miss, or if it was a blind hit. This information is just not available if you pull away after doing that. And that's why I say, if you do pull away, then we have the right to reserve the right not to show your replay at all, just to ignore it or not to publish the video after producing it, simply because you've ruined the experience for the viewers. So please do bear that in mind when you're playing the game. If you do have to relocate, do so whilst you're still in the aim view, watching what happens to the shell, and then at least we get to see what happened to it. And you can avoid the counter battery that you think might be coming your way. Of course, he didn't get counter batteried except when the RU-251 found him. So I think it was a false hope that the enemy Arty was going to strike him when he was pulling away. Anyway, apart from that, he did very well. Got the Gore's medal, got the Confederate, and an ace tanker. It's just a pity that he fired his last round at the end of the game and wasn't alive to see the end of the battle. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like and do subscribe to our channel, and thanks for watching.